Most marketing doesn't fail because it's the wrong strategy, the wrong thing to do. It fails because it never really had a good chance to work. So let's talk about how choosing one path, one strategy, and sticking with it for a longer period of time is the formula to see real results. Welcome to Be Weird Marketing, marketing conversations for women who want less noise and better decisions. I'm Ashley Conway. I partner with established entrepreneurs who are done chasing trends and tired of carrying their marketing alone. This isn't a how-to show. It's a thinking space, a place to slow down, cut through the noise, and focus on what actually supports your business at this stage. Because honestly, marketing doesn't need more ideas. It needs better decisions. So, I always love to tell a story. Right now, I have been playing a lot of Monopoly with my girls. We're starting with Monopoly Junior because who has enough time in their life to play a game of real Monopoly? It takes absolutely forever. So anyways, we're doing Monopoly Junior, and they totally know how to do the game. They're 8 and 11. They know how to run the game. What I'm trying to teach them is the strategy to win, because this is what they do. They land, and this is built into Monopoly Junior. They land on a spot. If they don't have it, they automatically buy it. And that's the way Monopoly Junior works. You have to buy something if you land on it. But I'm trying to teach them the skill behind the game is you eventually get to decide what you want to buy. And you can decide, do I want to buy one of every color? Do I want to buy everything I land on that's for sale? So what the questions I'm wanting them to ask are, do I have enough money? Do I have a plan for what I want to own? Because, adults, we've played this a handful of times. We know I don't want to own one of every color. What I want to do is own a whole color, the properties within the whole color. Or I want to own a whole corner of the board or a whole side of the board. And then once I get those, then I want to start putting houses and hotels. Because then when somebody lands on those properties, you're going to bring in a huge amount of rent, and it's going to be a big dent in their money, right? And that's how you eventually win the game, which I think is possible in real Monopoly. It's very hard to stick it out to know. So I'm trying to teach them these strategy skills, but they're 8 and 11. Their strategy and reasoning is not fully developed, so it's a bit of a stretch for them. So I was thinking about this whole analogy after I went to this networking event here in Salt Lake. It was on marketing and visibility, and I was going to introduce myself and do a little spiel as someone who provides marketing services. So another rep that was there that helps with marketing and visibility, there were 2 men there from a couple of our local TV stations. And one of them said something that I instantly agreed with, and I thought it was worth bringing here for a longer conversation. He was saying when he gets a client, when he starts working with a new business who is wanting to purchase time on his station to air a commercial, he tells them, pick one thing that you're going to do and stick with it for 6 months. You're not going to know how well this commercial performs unless you pick the time of day and you stick with that slot for 6 months. And then you'll really know, was this effective? Did this bring in my people? That type of thing. And I got to thinking about that, and I thought he's so right that everyone, we are tempted to spread things thin. We like the spaghetti on the wall approach because that feels natural. We go into marketing and in a lot of things, and we think, I will do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm going to do a little bit of ads and a little bit of webinars and a little bit of content marketing or whatever it is. And we're thinking, I'll just put out a little bit in each of these areas and then see what goes well for me. Well, the problem is that you have scattered yourself so thin that none of those really get a good chance to work. You are trying to market broad in a lot of different ways instead of going deep. But when you go deep and you focus, you get stronger results. So hang with me. Most people aren't choosing the wrong strategies. There are a lot of ways to win with marketing, just like there are a lot of ways to win at Monopoly. We all have different preferences, right? The problem is that you're not giving any of your strategies enough of your time, your consistency, your resources. Most marketing doesn't fail because you've picked the wrong strategy. It fails because it never had a great chance to work. So that begs the question, if success happens because you pick a strategy and you give it long enough to really work, how do you pick a right strategy, right? Choosing the right thing becomes even more important if you're not going to be scattered and you're just going to focus on one or two things. How do you choose? So I'm going to give you some guardrails here. We're going to start broad, work our way down. These are just things to think through. Number one, and this is the one you were probably thinking of, where does my audience already spend time? So let's say for a lot of people, that's your first thought is social, right? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, something like that. So that's the very broad first question. Where are they spending time? But let's go a little further with that. Let's take an extra step. Where are they actually making buying decisions? So here's an example. Someone may spend a decent amount of time on Facebook. They go on Facebook every day, but it is to see what friends and family that they don't see all the time are posting, or maybe it's to watch videos, but they're just in there doing that, then they pop off. They're not in there shopping. And in fact, when they see ads for things, it's a turn off to them. They scroll past it as quick as they can because they're not on there to buy, they're on there to connect. And if that's the case, if they're not sitting down and going into Facebook looking for things to buy, for solutions to whatever problem they have, then Facebook is the wrong place for you to go all in on ads, let's say, because your person is never going to go there to buy. And they will just find that annoying. And in some cases, because it's an ad and not just an organic post that somebody writes themselves, they're going to scroll past it even faster. Like, I don't care about ads. That's not why I'm here. And they keep scrolling. It becomes an annoyance to them. And if so, then if you're running Facebook ads, it's not going to work for you. Even if you ran those ads for 6 months, they're not going to do great for you because that's not why your audience is on Facebook. They're not there to shop. So those are the top two questions, a little more broad. Number 3, this is something I ask people a lot. What is already working for you? Even if it's just worked a little in the past. So how do you know this? Where are your inquiries coming from? Your engagement, people commenting on different things. When you're getting people to buy or wants to have a conversation with you, where did they do that? How did they contact you? Or how are they asking questions? Things like that. Where is that happening at? And that helps. So what is already working for you? Even if it's just working in a small dose, it's something that kind of gives you a clue. Oh, if I put more time and resources into this, would it work even more? And then number 4, what are you strongest in? What plays to your strengths? So it's where you show up the best. Is it in your writing, your speaking, when you're on video, face-to-face relationships? Where are you the strongest? And even an offshoot of that is, where do you demonstrate what you do the best? So think about that. Like, what is the best way for you to demonstrate your special brand of magic? Everyone has it. Every business owner has a special brand of magic that, you know, when I show up in this environment, in this circumstance, I am really the best version of myself and I connect with people the most and I serve people the best and they really get the true view of who I am and what I can do. Where is that? Because let's be real, a strategy that you hate, you're not going to stick with. You are not going to be willing to stick with 6 months, something that you absolutely despise doing. That is going to become one of the worst parts of what you do in your business if you pick something like that. So pick something that plays to your strengths. And the last one is, what can you and will you realistically commit to doing consistently for several months? I mean, ask yourself, this thing that I'm thinking of that could match, what we're talking about here, could you do that for the next 6 months consistently? So for this guy that was at the networking event, he was making the argument of, can you invest consistently for the next 6 months to show up with your commercial on this time slot? Do you have the budget for that? Don't plan a budget for a month because you're not going to find out if this works or not. It just needs more time. And a lot of that is, and this is an aside, but the reason that is because of a thing called impressions. Maybe in the earlier days of the internet and in the earlier days of social, people could see something 3 times, 5 times. They could hear about you and what you offer 5 times, and then they're ready to make a decision about whether they want to work with you or not. But we do not live in that world anymore. We live in a world of so much content and so much information that now it's more like 11, 15. I mean, the numbers have, tripled the amount of times somebody needs to see you and hear about you before it sticks and before they know whether you're the person for them. So that's why these things take longer, because we need a longer amount of time to get the same person to see it that many times. So what can you commit to consistently on a longer term basis? And this is where most strategies fall apart, because it's easy to put the thing in place. This is what I'm going to do. The hard part is being consistent for months in a row when you don't necessarily see stellar results at the beginning. Because we want an immediate return for our investment. We want to produce something for a month. That seems like a long time. I'm going to do this for a month. But at the end of that month, I better see some results off of that. That's what we think. But it doesn't work that way in this environment that we're in now, especially if you are an online business owner and you're doing all of your marketing activities online. It really does take longer than it used to. And I know you hate that and I hate that, but this is the game that we're in right now. So let me just recap those, because I know I went through them pretty fast. So number 1, the most broad question at the top is, where is my audience spending time? Then 2 is, where are they making buying decisions? Where are they open to your offer? Where are they open to seeing that, where it's going to be a gift to them, not an annoyance? Number 3, what is already working? Where have you already seen traction? Number 4, what plays to your strengths and your preferences? And number 5, what can you really commit to for the next several months? So this is why I say it's not about finding the perfect strategy. It's about choosing the smart one for you right now, for committing to it, and then for giving it that time. And then if you do something for, let's say, instead of 1 month, you do it for 4 months, you are going to have much better data about whether that thing actually works if you will wait that amount of time and stick with it. And a lot of times, that's what makes it work. A lot of things work if you stick to it and you say, let's say you're an ads person and you want to run ads on Instagram and you say, I'm going to stick with this for 4 to 6 months. I may have to change my video content that goes with it. I may have to change my captions. I may have to change my call to action, but I'm going to stick with this avenue, this channel for 4 to 6 months. And a lot of times it will work just because you're sticking it out. Focus creates results. In pretty much every area of your life, we know that to be true. What you focus on and you commit to will create results. If you want help choosing the right strategy and building a plan you can actually stick with, and in a lot of cases, a plan that you don't even have to manage anymore because you're going to pass it off to me, you can learn more about working together at BeWeirdMarketing.com. I trust this was helpful. And if all else fails, go play a game of Monopoly and see if this doesn't come up for you. What strategy do you use? You're not going to own stuff all over the board. You're going to try to get a corner or a side, just like I'm trying to teach my girls. Have a great day, and I can't wait to chat with you next time. If this episode was helpful, I'd love it if you shared it with another woman who might need to hear it as well. You can also subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss future episodes, especially if marketing has started to feel heavier than you want it to. This is where you're going to find relief. And if you want more support, resources, or to learn more about how I work with clients one-on-one, you can visit BeWeirdMarketing.com. Thanks for being here, and I can't wait to chat with you next time.